Imagine the phone in your pocket right now.
Hmm.
Just, think about it. It knows your political hopes. It knows your deepest economic fears.
Probably better than you know them yourself,
Well,
honestly.
exactly, because it's analyzing like the micro hesitations in your thumbs when you type, or the slight nervous shake in your voice when you speak.
Yeah, it establishes this incredibly precise psychological baseline. It knows you better than your closest friends do.
Right. So now I want you to imagine that exact same device, using all of that highly individualized data, is the primary engine driving the next election.
Which is, I mean, it's a huge shift. We are looking at a profound structural change in human governance here.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring the individualization of artificial intelligence.
Specifically, the personalized AI agents living locally on your phones and computers.
Yeah, and how this technology is about to, well, violently shake the foundations of democracy and authoritarianism alike.
And we really need to emphasize to the listener that this is not some speculative sci-fi dystopian fiction set a century from now.
Right, no. The projections place this disruption entirely within the next election cycle or two.
Yeah, within 5 to 10 years. The smart devices you interact with every single day are on the verge of dictating how your tax dollars are allocated.
Or, the exact customized political realities that get fed into your retinas.
And potentially, and this is the darker side, the metrics by which a government monitors your fundamental loyalty.
So the sources we're looking at today paint this dizzying duality, right?
Yeah, it's a very stark split.
Yeah.
The sheer processing power required to run these individualized models creates two completely divergent pathways for the future of the state.
Right. One points to this almost frictionless, empowering, participatory democracy.
And the other provides an unparalleled microscopic apparatus for state manipulation. So to grasp the total picture, we really have to tear down the mechanics of both.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I want to start with the optimistic side of the ledger.
Yeah, the utopian promise.
Right, because before we get to the terrifying surveillance stuff, we need to understand how this massive data processing capability could theoretically solve like a huge bottleneck in modern democracy.
The absolute density of bureaucracy.
Yes. I mean, think about how legislation functions right now for you and me.
It's impenetrable.
Completely. A 500-page infrastructure bill is basically written in a dead language as far as the average voter is concerned.
So, absolutely. It's just dense legalese.
Mm.
And that friction of comprehension is what keeps most citizens entirely disengaged from local governance.
Right, because who has the time to read that?
Exactly. Nobody. But a highly individualized local AI agent changes that mechanic completely.
Because it's not just summarizing the bill, is it?
No. It cross-references the raw text of that 500-page zoning legislation against your personal data.
Like what kind of data?
Like your property tax history, your daily GPS commute patterns, your localized utility usage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in a matter of milliseconds, it translates all that abstract bureaucratic jargon into a highly specific, customized impact assessment just for you.
So it's like having a universal translator.
Exactly.
But instead of translating French to English, it translates municipal zoning code 4B into something you actually care about.
Right. Like it tells you, hey, your drive to work will take 10 minutes longer, but your property taxes will drop by 2%.
That is wild. It instantly turns this massive cognitive burden into a simple pros and cons list.
Which is incredibly empowering for the individual voter. And if we take that a step further, the integration of these AI agents completely rewrites the mechanics of the voting booth itself.
Oh, right. The secure digital voting aspect. Let's talk about that.
So digital voting becomes structurally viable when every citizen has an advanced AI agent on their device.
Because right now, security is the main argument against voting on our phones.
Yeah, exactly. But we are talking about continuous biometric authentication here.
Meaning it's not just scanning my fingerprint once.
Right. The agent is locally verifying your identity through behavioral biometrics.
Like the way I hold the phone.
Yes, the specific angle you hold your device, the cadence of your keystrokes, even your facial geometry in real time.
That's crazy.
It is. The cryptographic keys required to cast a ballot become so deeply entangled with your continuous physical presence that voter fraud becomes basically computationally prohibitive.
So the friction that keeps voter turnout low is entirely eradicated.
Completely. Voting becomes this passive, seamless action,
Which, I mean, that introduces a completely different model for managing a city.
a hyperlocal model.
Yeah, if the friction of public participation drops to zero and the AI is constantly parsing this data, we move into hyperlocal problem solving.
The days of politicians arguing at a town hall over ideological approaches to traffic management or waste disposal suddenly look incredibly archaic.
Right, because why argue about it when the data just tells you the answer?
Exactly. The ideological guesswork is replaced by real-time, data-driven resource allocation.
So imagine the actual sensory network of a modern smart city. You have, what, thousands of intersection cameras?
Thousands of cameras, municipal power grid monitors, waste management sensors, they're all constantly generating data.
And an AI system can just ingest that entire data flow.
Right. It identifies that, hey, altering a specific traffic light algorithm in a certain neighborhood will reduce carbon emissions and commute times by 14%.
And it just does it.
It just deploys the update. It bypasses partisan gridlock entirely because it's treating the city not as a political battlefield, but as a complex logistical equation to be optimized.
Okay, and that optimization even extends to fighting corruption, right?
Yeah, the transparent bureaucracy argument.
Right, so if an AI is instantly auditing every single state tender, analyzing thousands of public procurement contracts against global pricing indexes to flag like a 3% budget anomaly.
It could theoretically catch corruption instantly.
But wait, okay, let's unpack this for a second. If AI is suddenly policing state spending and making the bureaucracy totally transparent, won't corrupt politicians just try to rig the AI's auditing algorithms?
That's the big question.
I mean, who audits the auditor?
And that is exactly where the vulnerability of this entire utopian model lies.
Because it sounds a little too perfect.
Right. The potential for absolute accountability exists on paper. A neural network can find a buried kickback in a municipal budget that a human forensic accountant would miss for a decade.
Sure.
But the output is only as objective as the training data and the algorithmic weights.
Ah, right. The human element at the source.
Exactly. If the centralized authority writing the auditing algorithm is incentivized to ignore specific anomalies, the technology doesn't eliminate corruption.
It just hides it better.
Right. It provides a mathematically complex, impenetrable shield for it.
Yeah.
The corruption becomes algorithmic.
And therefore, vastly harder for a human journalist or a citizen to ever uncover.
It's nearly impossible.
It's like having a state-of-the-art security camera system installed by the exact people planning to burgle the house.
That's a great way to put it.
The cameras are flawless. They're just programmed to loop footage of an empty hallway whenever the vault opens.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that shifts the fundamental nature of what it means to hold public office.
How so?
Well, the idealized politician of this near future isn't a charismatic orator delivering soaring speeches about national values.
Right. The data is doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah. They become something much closer to a systems administrator.
A systems administrator.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their primary function is overseeing, tuning, and directing the localized algorithms that are balancing the municipal budget and dispatching the automated street sweepers.
I mean, a quiet, hyper-efficient government humming in the background sounds like a dream.
It does.
But there is a fatal flaw in relying on an individualized AI to perfectly translate and optimize the world for you.
The huge flaw.
To do that, the AI has to know exactly how you think. It has to map your specific anxieties, your financial stress points, your behavioral triggers.
It needs a complete psychological profile.
And once a system knows exactly how you think, it knows exactly how to manipulate you.
Which brings us to the dystopian flip side.
Right. Micro-targeting.
Yeah. The transition from the AI understanding the law to the AI understanding the voter is really where the architecture of democracy begins to fracture.
So how bad does this micro-targeting get?
Well, the capabilities projected for the next decade make current social media advertising algorithms look like blunt instruments.
Well, like worse than what we have now.
Oh, absolutely. We are no longer talking about categorizing voters into broad demographic buckets based on zip code and search history.
Okay, so I want you, the listener, to picture this scenario. Imagine you are sitting on the couch with your partner.
Right, a very normal evening.
Both of you are just scrolling on your respective devices. Now, the AI on your phone has been passively monitoring your heart rate via your smartwatch. It knows you lingered on an article about inflation for 4 seconds longer than average. And it has access to your banking app showing your rent payment just cleared, leaving your balance pretty low.
So it knows you're stressed about money.
Exactly. based on that localized stress data, a political campaign's AI dynamically generates a customized video about impending economic collapse.
Just for you.
Right. Featuring a politician speaking in a calm, reassuring tone, specifically calibrated to lower your heart rate.
Meanwhile, your partner, sitting 2 feet away from you, is having a completely different experience.
Right, because their biometrics and reading history indicate, say, a heightened anxiety about local security.
Exactly. So they are fed a dynamically generated video from the exact same political campaign.
But it looks completely different.
Yes. Their video is visual dark. It features sirens and urgent messaging about rising crime rates.
And the politician's tone.
The politician is speaking in a highly authoritative, aggressive cadence.
To match their specific anxiety.
Right. The campaign isn't broadcasting a single platform anymore. It is deploying an automated, infinite matrix of personalized psychological interventions.
So my question is, are those two people on the couch even participating in the same election at that point?
Well, that's exactly the issue.
Because if I am terrified about my bank account and you are terrified about a home invasion, we aren't going to be debating the same policies.
No, you're not. And what's fascinating here is that the mechanism driving that isolation is the invisible dismantling of societal consensus.
Societal consensus, meaning we don't agree on reality anymore.
Right. A functioning democracy requires a public square. The citizens do not have to agree on the solutions. I mean, in fact, disagreement is the whole point of the system.
Sure, we debate the answers.
But they fundamentally must agree on what the problems are. There has to be a shared baseline reality to debate.
And we really take that shared reality for granted, don't we?
We completely take it for granted.
We assume that even if we are bitterly divided on politics, we are at least looking at the same map of the country.
But when an AI campaign matrix can generate millions of bespoke, psychologically optimized political realities simultaneously, the public square ceases to exist.
It's just gone.
Yeah. There is no longer a national broadcast to debate. There are only millions of private, mathematically perfected whispers happening in complete isolation.
Because the generation happens dynamically on the edge, right?
Yeah.
Like on the user's actual device.
Exactly. So no two citizens will ever experience the exact same campaign material.
I mean, it's less like an echo chamber and more like a custom-built sensory deprivation tank.
That's a terrifying way to look at it, but yeah.
Because an echo chamber implies you are in a room shouting and hearing your own voice bounce back. You still know there's a room.
Right.
This is different. This technology actively filters out the existence of the outside world altogether. It creates a hermetically sealed reality tailored entirely to your specific vulnerabilities.
And finding any sort of common ground in that environment isn't just difficult, it becomes mathematically impossible.
Because we literally aren't seeing the same world.
Exactly. You cannot negotiate a social contract when the electorate is intentionally fractured into populations of one.
And each of those single individuals is utterly convinced that their customized existential threat is the only objective truth.
Yes. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh boy. Okay.
Because the complete destruction of shared reality isn't just a side effect of aggressive campaign marketing.
Right. There's a much more deliberate application.
Yeah. When we look at authoritarian regimes, this exact same individualized AI architecture is deliberately weaponized.
To do what?
To establish the ultimate panoptic surveillance state.
So using the exact same technology that could translate laws for us.
Yes, the concept of the digital informant relies on the exact same localized processing power we just discussed.
But in an authoritarian context, the AI agent isn't optimizing your commute.
No, it is running continuous, passive biometric analysis to calculate a real-time descent probability score.
A descent probability score. That is chilling.
It is.
And we're not talking about, like, a government searching your text messages for flagged keywords, are we?
No, we're way beyond keywords. We are talking about the microphone on your device, analyzing the micro-tremors in your vocal cords.
Like when you casually mention a new tax policy at a coffee shop.
Exactly. It's analyzing the hesitation in your thumbs before you click on a state-sponsored news article.
It's literally measuring your physical reaction to the state.
Yes. And the sheer computational bandwidth required to monitor an entire population at that granular level used to be impossible.
Right, because historically, the Stasi or the KGB had to rely on human informants.
Which are resource-intensive, expensive, and prone to failure. Humans make mistakes.
But the AI agent doesn't.
And because it operates locally on your device, it doesn't need to transmit massive audio or video files to a central government server.
Oh, right, because sending all that video would crash any network.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
simply processes your biometrics locally, and then it transmits a tiny encrypted metadata packet containing your fluctuating risk score.
So the surveillance becomes computationally light
Infinitely scalable.
and utterly inescapable.
Yes.
It's like carrying around a polygraph test that you never consented to, and it's running 24/7.
And it's doing this to millions of people simultaneously.
I mean, wow. But the assault on objective truth doesn't just happen quietly in the background, does it?
No, it happens violently, right out in the open, usually in the crucial window right before an election.
Let's talk about the mechanics of deepfakes and the shift into post-truth politics.
This is a huge component.
Yeah.
The asymmetrical warfare of verification is the core issue here.
Asymmetrical meaning one side has a massive advantage.
Exactly. A decentralized generative AI network can produce tens of thousands of localized, flawless deepfakes in a matter of seconds.
Flawless meaning perfect audio, perfect lip syncing, perfect lighting.
Yes, and the computational cost is fractions of a cent per video.
And we are definitely moving past the glitchy, weirdly blinking deepfakes of a few years ago.
Oh yeah, we are talking about a video dropping on a Thursday night showing a political candidate taking a bribe.
Or confessing to a crime.
Right, with zero digital artifacts visible to the naked eye.
But don't we have independent forensic analysts to catch that stuff?
We do. But the mechanism of the threat isn't just the realism, it's the speed.
The speed of verification.
Right. For a democracy to defend itself against synthetic media, those forensic analysts have to extract the video, analyze pixel distortion algorithms, map audio waveforms against known baselines,
Which takes time.
and then publish a verified debunking. That manual forensic process takes days.
But the election is on Tuesday.
Exactly. By the time the analysts release their report proving the video was mathematically generated, the polls are closed.
The votes are cast, the damage is done.
A synthetic reality doesn't need to withstand historical scrutiny to be effective. It only needs to survive the 48-hour window before a geopolitical event.
So the sheer volume and velocity of synthetic media completely overwhelms our human capacity to verify reality.
Yes. The verification process is a bottleneck, but the generation process is infinite.
That effectively reduces democratic elections to a completely different game.
It does. It forces society into a post-truth architecture.
Because it's no longer about policy, or even about who has the best narrative.
No. It becomes a contest of who can deploy the most devastating, localized lie at the exact optimal millisecond to bypass the forensic bottleneck.
And when the population fundamentally understands that any video, audio, or text could be instantly generated by a machine.
The default cognitive state shifts to absolute cynicism.
Right. People just stop believing anything.
Even true events. You could have a legitimate event caught on legitimate cameras, and it's instantly dismissed as an AI fabrication by whichever side is disadvantaged by the footage.
The concept of empirical evidence completely dissolves.
It does.
So what does this all mean for the actual mechanics of power?
Well, this raises an important question about who actually runs things now.
Because if objective truth is dead, and our realities are locked inside individualized sensory deprivation tanks, the entities writing the code are suddenly wielding vastly more influence than the people writing the laws.
Yes. The geopolitical implications require a complete reevaluation of how power is defined.
How so?
Well, historically, power was defined by scarcity, specifically the scarcity of information.
Right. If you control the information, you control the people.
Exactly. If a central authority, like a monarchy, a church, a state, controlled the library, or the printing press, or the broadcast tower, they controlled the populace.
We were always taught that knowledge is power.
Right.
But if AI makes knowledge infinite, instantaneous, and accessible to literally everyone on Earth,
Then knowledge isn't scarce anymore.
it's cheap.
Very cheap. And when the supply of information becomes infinite, the critical bottleneck shifts.
To what?
The scarce resource is no longer the information itself. It is the human capacity to consume it.
Oh, our attention.
Yes. Therefore, power fundamentally transfers from the creators of knowledge to the managers of human attention.
So owning the filter that directs human attention is the ultimate power.
Exactly. The entity that owns the algorithm, filtering that infinite sea of data, holds the ultimate power.
Which means the technology companies, the algorithm owners, are suddenly sitting at the apex of global power.
They control the localized AI agents filtering reality for billions of people.
That causes a complete inversion of traditional sovereignty, doesn't it?
A total inversion. Historically, sovereign governments dictate the operating environment for corporations.
They regulate industries, levy taxes, set the legal boundaries.
But the projections suggest a near future where a handful of technology companies exert immensely more leverage over a government than the government does over its own citizens.
I mean, think about the mechanics of that leverage. If you are a sitting politician and a single tech executive has the ability to tweak a routing algorithm,
An algorithm that dictates the precise emotional reality. 50 million voters will experience 48 hours before your re-election bid.
right, you cannot regulate that executive.
No, you can't. You are entirely dependent on their architecture for your political survival.
And those algorithmic architectures are not driven by a specific political ideology, are they?
No, they are driven by structural incentives. The algorithms are optimized to maximize engagement.
To keep the user's attention locked on the device.
Exactly. And because human neurological systems respond most aggressively to existential threats, outrage, and fear.
The algorithm naturally prioritizes that content.
Yes, it's not that the AI has a malicious agenda.
It's just a machine maximizing a metric.
But in maximizing engagement, it systematically amplifies the micro-targeted fear campaigns, the frictionless deepfakes, and the hyperpolarized realities.
It burns down the public square because anger keeps people clicking and consensus is boring.
Exactly. The governments of the world find themselves caught in an algorithmic current they can neither control nor fully map.
So the very foundational philosophies of how a society governs itself are being quietly rewritten by the optimization targets of a few corporate servers.
It's an incredible shift.
The whiplash of this trajectory is really just incredible. We started by looking at a technology that could theoretically perfect democracy.
Right. An AI that effortlessly translates dense tax laws into simple neighborhood impacts.
An AI that eradicates voter fraud through passive biometrics and optimizes city management by bypassing partisan gridlock entirely.
The promise of a fully rational, hyper-efficient, data-driven society. The ultimate realization of participatory governance.
But the exact same mechanical foundation, this ability to process massive amounts of individualized data in real time, instantly opens the door to unconsented biometric polygraphs running constantly in our pockets.
It creates an environment where synthetic media outpaces forensic truth.
Turning elections into localized psychological warfare.
And ultimately hands the reins of global power over to the entities controlling the attention filters.
The paradox is absolute.
It really is. The tool capable of engineering the perfectly informed citizen is the exact same tool capable of engineering the perfectly manipulated subject.
So where does that leave us?
Well, to close out this analysis, I think there's a fundamental philosophical question underlying all of these projections.
Okay, let's hear it.
If these AI agents become flawless at predicting your desires, mapping your anxieties, and validating your exact worldview,
Which they will.
right, they will eventually construct a digital fortress around you that is completely devoid of cognitive friction.
You'll only see what you want to see.
Exactly. You will never encounter a truly jarring, disagreeing opinion. You will never face the discomfort of an opposing reality. So the question is, if that level of personalized comfort becomes absolute, will you even possess the awareness to realize you have lost your freedom of choice?
Wow.
Or is the human preference for a friction-free existence so strong that we will simply and quietly hand over the keys to our own democracy?
Something to carefully consider the next time your phone seems to miraculously anticipate exactly what you're feeling. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay endlessly curious,